I thought I'd take you with me while I walked around the orchard at the farm, Lost Peacock Creamery. The farm's owned, I don't know how many of you know this, the farm is owned by Bev's son and his wife. But this is where Bev and I spend most of our days, is helping out here, doing stuff that we can. And this right here where I am is the orchard that we started this year. This thing goes down, well, I've shown you the orchard. Anyway, there's a lot of reasons why I wanted to tell you about this, but I'm going to give you a quick tour and then I'll talk to you. This right here is the pond that we dug out. We've been working on this for 3 months, and the hillside behind the pond will be a hugelkultur, and we're almost done with that. I've got to get some soil, build that up just a little, and then we'll be ready to plant on that. This being early January, so we're in good shape. Right there in the corner is where the beehives are going. 2 beehives, honeybees, right there. And so they will have access to water. They'll have access to, right here is the butterfly garden, and they'll have access to whatever's planted on the hugelkultur. And then right here where the hoops are will be beans and squash and peas. So there'll be some flower in there. And then the whole orchard, there's probably 20-25 trees there, fruit trees. So now honeybees do fly. They cover 1 to 3 miles when they're looking for nectar, but that's okay. This is a good spot. It's away from a road. The driveway's, here, but nobody goes over 10 miles an hour, so that's no big deal. And so, perfect location for the honeybees. They will be here probably late March. I'm gonna get the beehives and set them up, I don't know, in a week or 2, maybe 2 weeks. There's no rush on that. And then we'll be ready to raise bees and get honey. And from one hive, we're gonna get close to 50-60 pounds of honey. So we'll probably sell those in the farm stand, what we don't use around the farm here. And I'm really excited about that. I have some apprehension because I'm afraid I'm going to kill them off, but I talked to my beekeeping mentor yesterday, and he assured me that everybody makes mistakes at first. I got to get these chickens out of here. They know better, but every time I leave that little gate open, they come through. All right, Maggie, come with me. Come on. So, pretty cool. What we're going to do here, let me get this gate up so the chickens can't get through again. It's not that the chickens are going to do any damage, it's just that they like to get into the hugelkultur and kick dirt around, and I don't want the dirt kicked around. And then we've got about 30 chickens right now, which you're looking at, the chicken coop. We are currently incubating. There's 20 eggs in incubation now. They're due January 26th. Then I'll put another 20 in the incubator, and then another 20. And so that'll add to the flock. Eggs are about 6 months out of after birth, so we'll add to the eggs that we're going to sell at the farm stand, and the eggs that we eat here, and sell the other chicks, so people can start their own backyard. It's never quiet at a farm. Their own backyard chicken flock. In this spot right here, just to the right of the maple tree, we're going to put a what's the size of it? 6x10 greenhouse. It's going right here, right there. And we're gonna get started with seedlings, or with seeds here another week, because I want tomatoes to grow in the greenhouse, and I want a ton of tomatoes so we can sell those in the farm stand. And then the rest, all this over here is just fruit trees. And okay, that's a quick shot of the orchard. We've got bigger plans than that, but that's all we'll be able to do this year. I have a tendency to want to do, 50 different things, and then only 5 things get finished. So I'm trying to hold back. The noise you hear are those loud birds right there. They're guinea fowl. They're wild to the farm. They just take care of themselves. They're the guard dogs. So I don't own any of this. Bev doesn't own any of it. We're doing it for a variety of reasons. So let me talk to you. Let me get in the sun, rare sun. When I was a kid, when I was 5 years old, 6 years old, my folks and I drove back to Iowa, which is where my folks were born. And I didn't realize it then, but the trip had a profound effect on me. Profound. I remember driving through Iowa and seeing the corn stalks, and they're 6-8 feet high because it was summertime, and swaying in the wind. And I couldn't. You'd get out of the car and you'd hear the rustle of the leaves, and I thought it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. And we get to my grandparents' farm. Well, what they had left of it, I think they had like 10 acres left of the original 100 because they lost the other 90 during the Great Depression. But we get there, and I just followed my grandfather around while he did his chores during the day. Inevitably, Maggie will bark when I'm doing a film. I followed my grandfather around, and he would just talk to me about farming and talk to me about how important it was that they grow food, that they grow good, healthy food. And he stopped once in the field, and he got down on his hands and knees, and he held up a handful of dirt, and he looked at me. He said, "Billy, this is life that I'm holding. It's not dirt. We call it soil, and we call it soil because it's life-giving. This is where the food comes from. This is part of the circle of life." They didn't talk about ecosystems then, but part of the circle of life, and it's important. People need to understand it's important. And even then, and we're talking the 50s, even then he knew that you shouldn't use pesticides. He didn't believe in putting any poisons in the earth. This was before Rachel Carson's book, The Silent Spring, before all the protest marches, before Roundup was even invented. And he talked about how important it was to grow natural foods so that people would be healthier. All of that stuff stuck with me. And I've always wanted to have a farm of my own. Life just didn't take me in that direction, but I'm finishing out my life doing what I absolutely love to do. Work with the earth, work with animals, work at growing things, working at giving back to the earth. I don't want my footprint to be on the plus side. I don't want any harm to come to the planet from me being on it. And I've got a lot to make up for. When I was younger, just like everybody else, I was using plastics like crazy, and I was throwing away recyclables in the garbage and wasting like, people do. I would be hard-pressed to find anybody who doesn't waste and throw away crap that shouldn't be thrown away, or they use too much, or they have too much, because we live in a society of I want. A couple weeks ago, news stories came out that there's a big egg shortage. Evidently the avian flu has struck, and so there's big egg shortage in the supermarkets, and the price of eggs has gone up, skyrocketed, they said. And I had to laugh. It's like, we've got 30 chickens, there's no egg shortage here, and there's no danger of the avian flu because they're not being processed in a goddamn chicken factory. These are about as healthy a birds as you're going to find. We don't have birds that die of, you know, what they call, whatever, natural, they call them natural causes, but it's really from the crap they eat and the environment they're in. Our birds are healthy. And we eat healthy eggs. And when we process one of these chickens, those chickens, the carcass is healthy. And these chickens are pooping on the ground, and the ground makes compost, and the compost goes into growing vegetables, and it's called permaculture. And my grandfather knew that long before anybody used the word permaculture. He understood that. I remember a pile of manure out on his 10 acres, and he would add to that, and then he would dig out from the bottom. And what he dug out, he put on the crops and the plants, and he had the healthiest looking garden you've ever seen in your entire life. It's called permaculture. And he would store water from the rains in big containers. I don't know what the hell they were. I just remember they were big containers. And that water was used to water the crops because it was natural. He didn't take what he didn't need to take. They didn't use what they didn't need to use. And I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you this, stay with me for a second. In case you haven't noticed, the economy is screwed. And there's nobody fighting for you. You know, the Democrats will whine about the Midwest states, the farming states. Why doesn't Iowa and Missouri and Kansas and Oklahoma and Nebraska, why don't they vote Democratic? Don't they understand that the Republicans don't have their best interests in heart? Well, you know what? Democrats don't either. That whole area used to grow, and the Deep South used to vote Democratic until it became obvious that the Democrats didn't care what was happening in the Midwest. They had big fat rich cats to plunder for money in the bigger cities. Guys, I don't know for a life of here in Olympia, in the city limits, you can have 5 chickens, you can have 5 hens in your backyard. I don't know why everybody doesn't. Honest to God, I don't. It's such a small thing. They're so easy to raise. I don't know why people don't do that. I don't know why people don't collect their own rainwater. I don't know why. Because there's a reckoning coming. And I don't want to sound like a crazy man, but there's a reckoning coming. The lower middle class, which is, you know, like 90% of the United States, lower middle class, you think things are tough now? They're going to get tougher. And we need to do what we can to take care of ourselves and our own. And that's what's happening here. The small farms of America, you need to support them. Go to farmers markets, stop at a farm stand, do whatever you can to help. Yeah, you're going to pay a little extra, but come on. Wake up and smell the stock market. I would rather pay an extra $1 on vegetables that I bought from a farm stand, or an extra $5 any day of the week, than buy them from a supermarket that bought them from a factory, a food factory. End of sermon. Support small farmers, please. Okay? Like and subscribe. I'd sure like to see some support. I'd love the support. I've got about 15 Patreon followers who have been with me from day one. Go to Patreon under As We Wonder, $3 a month. That's it, folks. Thank you so much. Support small farmers. Over and out.